Hello and welcome to Sim Strategy Gaming. I'm Sim. This episode will be about the second scenario of Railway Empire 2, Star Logistics. Looking at our mission objectives, we see that connecting 40,000 citizens to our rail network comes on right away, quite easily. And then making 10 different goods available in St. Louis at the same time, that also comes on quite naturally with this setup, but then delivering 8 loads of clothing via Huntington, that is a little bit more of a challenge with the way that I have set up this rail network. I'm not really a big fan of this Star logistic systems because even though there might be an efficient way of delivering goods, then what to do with all the in between the cities connections? And I want all the cities to be connected so that I can make a maximal amount of revenue from passengers. Passengers being the most profitable in Railway Empire, and goods are mostly used to build up the cities so that one can have more passengers. So then I have divided the map into two circular zones, the eastern zone and the western zone. But both connects to Huntington and also with St. Louis here and Memphis. And then I were lucky enough after some trial and errors to be able to find a way to connect all the cities at once. So this is pretty much how the rail network will look all the way through this scenario. Of course, we will expand upon it and broaden the lines. But to begin with, I could only afford one line for each zone. So that means that they all have to go in the same direction. That is not quite optimal, but still I think that it's in many ways it's better to do it this way than to have just a few lines going, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to afford it. And then I pretty much run out of money as well. So then one way to start off really well is by using the professor. The professor has this very severe drawback that he earns much less from passengers and mail, and passenger mail being most profitable. So this is a major thing. And then these auctions, that they are not so, at least with there are no competitors that are, this isn't so much of a good thing, even though it is good. But then to have all locomotives 60% cheaper, that is marvelous in the very beginning, and particularly if one starts early in the game. Now we start sort of in the middle of the game. You can see here with the research, it's sort of not too far back. If you were further back, the locomotives are actually more expensive because we don't have all these nice bonuses that make locomotives cheaper in the very late games. Then the professor is not the very good because the locomotives are so cheap anyway. But then in the middle game, it's nice to have the professor. And then it allows me to connect everything at once, pretty much. But all of these extra little resources, but all of the cities are now connected, but only then with a single line. But there are all these nice connection bonuses spread all out over the map. So by doing it like this, and then of course starting all of the trains in the very connection bonuses, that as you can see, that will make for the connection bonuses to just come rolling in pretty much right away. Haven't had money to build up any warehouses yet, and maintenance depots, no stations extensions at all. So that will come on later. We'll have a quick look at the locomotives. The Inu is certainly a nice locomotive, but it would be hard to achieve express statuses on the Inu because the class 121 is the best train, and this is an express train. And we cannot so much use express trains in the beginning. Express trains, they must go on their own separate lines, and we can't afford to have double up our system quite yet. So we will very much aim for this Brooks Mogul, which is a very nice train. So I'm going to save my invention points, as it wouldn't take that far long before we can achieve this very nice mixed train. And then it took me about a year to build up big enough cities so that the clothing were in demand. They have to be in demand first, and I think we need to have cities that are at least 50,000 citizens in order to have demand for clothing. You can see now with the next set of mission objectives, the balance comes in very nicely with these circles. Mission objectives might be a little harder to achieve, and I don't bother with this manual loading, so then the trains just goes around and around. But we can see, at least with the balance, we have more than double the acquired balance as we now are rolling drunk. We have also connected, have a general growth all over the map. All of the cities are growing nicely, so then to have 40,000 citizens also comes in just immediately right away. But then to be delivering this liquor via Huntington again, that will be a little bit of a challenge and will require some tricks. But let's first see how we were able to deliver the clothing. The clothing is here in Memphis, and I bought up this clothing factory. I don't usually buy so many factories because they are really expensive, but now we were able to connect all of the cities, and that's the most important thing. And after we have connected the cities, one can focus more on buying up these mission crucial factories. But the trick that I did is we goes in and look at how clothing is now distributed, and it all goes through Huntington. And there is one little dedicated line going from Huntington to Nashville. But one can wonder why there is no clothing going directly from Memphis to Nashville on this route. And that's because I have made it such that only the lines that go to Huntington first are allowed to pick up the clothing from Memphis. You see here, this is a normal line, but the line that goes in the opposite direction, we now had, of course, the time to expand our one-lane system into a two-lane system, so that they go in both directions. But look now at the opposite direction, the counterclockwise direction. Here I have turned off, so it doesn't pick up any clothing. And then I do the same on the opposite side. These ones that go from Memphis into Huntington, they are allowed to pick up no, they're not allowed to pick up. No, they're not allowed to pick up either. And then here in Memphis West, no. So only this line here, these ones, do pick up the clothing. And they all go straight to Huntington. And then from Huntington, here, everybody is allowed to, all the trains are allowed to pick up clothing, of course. So then one can direct it in this way and sort of force the game to use only Huntington as distribution zone, even though this circular paths would normally distribute in the easiest and then the shortest route. One can prohibit the trains from picking up and using the shortest route and rather going through Huntington. But it goes to show that these star-shaped networks and such, they're not so good for making money and for having easy distribution. So then, if I have to use the Huntington warehouse, I would have to diminish sort of a bit the delivering capacities. St. Louis comes on quite well. It has 86.4% fulfillment of demand. One can see that there now has 3, 5, 10. Only corn is missing from St. Louis now. But then I bought up this corn resource here in Louisville, so then I can further bump that up a bit. I think that we are having a little bit. Now we have enough corn, but then it used to be a little too little, and it's a long way to St. Louis. But one can then go in here if one needs a little extra, put up an extra line, make sure that it only picks up what we need, and then have it wait there until it's full and go the way. But now we have to wait because there is too little corn here, and this train have to go back and forth to build these circles, and then to have these main circles, and then to have all these resources from the outside of the circle, and sometimes even from the inside of the circle, hooking on to the circles. They make for a very nice, good flow, lots of growth, lots of money, but sometimes it's a little hard, particularly on this level, to make sure that they actually go in accordance with the mission objectives. Have a quick look at the flow of goods. Of course, we have all these more advanced goods down here in Huntington, but contrary to what our investor tells us, we will still, I would say at least, we will still need to have some warehouses for the more basic goods. Huntington has only these very advanced goods that come into play later. There is no demand for liquor, the paper, the toys are very late in the game, canned fruit as well, ceramics. But then for wheat, all the wheat is placed here in the east and need to go to the west through a warehouse both in St. Louis and one in Memphis. Corn was on both circles, so then there was only need to bring this corn onto the line. Other way of using warehouses, where one moves a resource into a city. And then we had lumber. Lumber was only 2 lumber resources here in the west, but no lumber in the east. So then it had to go through the warehouses in Memphis and St. Louis. Then I made for this solution to have 2 separate stations, so then these warehouses here have to be mirrored in order for lumber is coming in here, and as soon as it comes in there, it's moved over to the warehouse here where it's awaiting further distribution on the other western circle. Meat. Lots of meat, one on each circle and one in the middle, so then that takes care of itself. Only beer in the western circle, so then that had to be redistributed until the western circle. Same with sugar, only 1 sugar resource, and only one fruit resource, so this might actually have to be bought. Gonna spend a lot of money on buying up resources and factories later on. But then, first of all, it's very important to have a good rail network to make for general growth in all the cities, so that we can actually make the money that we need to buy factories and rural businesses. One of the worst strategies, I think, would be to buy up all the resources and factories in the beginning and then lag behind on the distribution network, and that will sort of make for a very, very slow growth, because we don't earn that much money from factories and production in general. We earn most of the money from deliveries. So then it's best, I think, to have delivery, focus on delivery first, and then gets enough money, and then further on, as we have the money, buy the factories later on. Then they will be more expensive, but still we will have more money. So the best to have lots of money handy. And then milk, lots of milk on these 3 milk resources, that is sort of a lot. And then we have vegetables on both sides, so that they can take care of itself. Fruit have to be redistributed here. There'll be this extra little line that goes from Nashville, this little express line that goes from St. Louis to Nashville, that picks up sugar and fruit, in addition to passengers that want to go extra fast through these cities that are. I don't think it would be possible. It would be too long for them to go all the way around here. That would be more than twice the air distance. So this line here in the middle is also very useful. Other than that, I think that I may manage to set it up so that all of the cities are now connected to everyone. We can go through the map here and see that all of the cities are connected to passengers and express goods. Yes, like this. This is a very nice setup. That will make us a lot of money. And now, about 18 months into the game, we managed to deliver those crucial 12 loads of liquor via Huntington. That we had to use a bit of a trick in order to be able to achieve with this circular setup. Owning 3 industries and businesses, that came on right away, and we can see that to make 13 different goods available in Fayetteville, that will also come on nicely. Fayette will just have to grow a little bit further, but it's growing really nicely. And then to deliver 16 loads of paper by Huntington, there are paper mill here in Fayetteville, and I think we have opportunity for a nice bond. I go for the biggest one. I'm not so concerned about the interest rate, and then we can buy this and bump it up, perhaps all the way. Yes, and then with all that paper and all this, and there is good demand, particularly here on the west side. That you don't really need to have so many tricks. Not so much paper. We will go to the Memphis, St. Louis. So then there will be more than enough for these cities. So we don't have to use that many tricks in order to deliver the paper. But with the liquor, that was sort of a tricky thing, because liquor would be distributed all over on this on the west side and be entirely eaten up, and we can only afford one liquor factory, and then there aren't that much sugar or fruit either, and liquor is one of those particularly hard to produce resources, as it requires two separate goods coming in. And we can see here now that there are 20 loads of sugar and 18 loads of fruit, and more coming in as we speak through this particular line here. I rebuilt this line that used to go from St. Louis to Nashville into a cross, so then we can see that now the line goes from St. Louis and up to Indianapolis in order to assure that Indianapolis gets what it needs. And then there is one other line. These lines look a little bit awkward as they sort of go in this horseshoe shaped manner, this half moon, but then they're all connected here in green with this hotel. And this hotel is running really nicely, so one can see that the line from St. Louis to Nashville is still there, and there is also a line from Memphis to Indianapolis through this hotel. People don't mind sleeping a day at the hotel while they're waiting for the next train to come. But then, in order to deliver the liquor, you can see here now there isn't any flow of liquor at all because I turned it all off. And by turning off all of these trains so that none of them are now picking up, see here in Indianapolis, turned off both directions. There as well, both turned off. That will make for the factory to just keep on producing until it has reached the maximum amount of its export warehouse capacity, which is 24. And then what I did is that and it took some time for me to figure this out, but this can actually be done. We can go in here, make sure that it only picks up what is required, liquor in this case, and then it goes to Huntington, and can perhaps have 2 of these trains. And then now it waits here, coming in, and then it picks up the liquor that nobody else are picking up, and then that train will go down here into Huntington. And as soon as Huntington have liquor, now there are 8 liquor coming in, and as soon as this liquor is placed there will be a train on the other side of the track, or on this here, it doesn't matter which side it picks up. And these trains, here I have made no adjustments, so they of course will pick up the liquor if there are liquor there, and then that will count for the mission objective. So that is also one way of doing it, just making sure that nobody else picks up the liquor, and then take the liquor straight down into Huntington, and then whomever wants can pick it up, and then they will be distributed through the Huntington warehouse. At this stage, we have been able to afford 4 lanes, and the cities are so big now that there is absolutely demand for not only having a mixed line here on the outer part. I always use the inner part for this particularly dedicated passenger lines. In the passenger lines, they will have both the dining and the mail car to make for extra profits. And then often there will be fewer, and they will skip these resources. There's no need for them to pick up the resources. I could have built a line that didn't go through the resources at all, but that it makes it a little bit messy. So it doesn't cost so much more, and it doesn't so much longer. So then I just make them go straight through the resources. They just kind of fly past them. I mean, that's a normal thing. Many trains, express trains, they will pass through every station, but they don't stop on every station. So I often do it like that. One can perhaps notice that I have not built an hotel here at Hobbs, even though this seems to be a split here, but both of these goes into St. Louis, and then there isn't any point in having a hotel. It doesn't matter if the passengers, if they go to St. Louis, the westbound, or the central station that goes eastward. The west station here is for this cross in the middle of the western western zone, western circle. Quick look at the flow of goods that haven't changed a lot. It's still pretty much the same. The map haven't changed, and our rail network has only been expanded with this cross. And then instead of making for more different routes crisscrossing, I rather spent the money on having 4 lanes. Not on this side. The eastern side is more expensive. It is bigger, and there is more distance between the cities. So I rather focused solely on building up the western side, and then leaving the eastern side a little bit later. And then by January, 2 years of gameplay, we are just about to be delivering the 16th load of paper via Huntington. And see how we set up this what a really big paper mill. And I haven't done any particular changes to the rails, and it is a little, might have done something clever here and gone in and turned one of those off. Make sure that only, particularly in the, one can do this, but then one has to remember what one did, and then it is sometimes a little bit confusing. So with the paper, there was so much of a surplus, and so much demand here in the west. The cities here are bigger and more demanding than on the east side. Kansas not demanding anything. Columbia is coming on, having a little bit of demand. St. Louis is not going through the warehouse. Neither does Memphis, but still Nashville, Louisville, and Indianapolis, they're both having really great demand, and then they all be delivered through Nashville. Of course, they wouldn't add any extra warehouses with paper in. So these warehouses here in Louisville have these goods. Pretty much mirrored on both sides, and this one as well. Memphis, having a quick look at what we did here. Okay, been delivering some clay. Clay is way to the west, while the clay, the ceramics factory is way up here in the east. So, but still, it is absolutely possible to be using these circular systems and warehouses to transport clay from one side of the map to another if the map isn't too big. But of course, that wouldn't be very profitable. It would be a very long haul all the way, and one only gets paid for delivering the goods. It doesn't matter how long they've been traveling. So I think I might have to buy up this ceramics factory and demolish it, put something else there, perhaps something lumber, sawmill, perhaps. That would be a good idea, I think. And then rather have a clay factory, say perhaps in Nashville. Yeah, that might, we will look further into that. But first, for our last set of mission objectives, second last set of mission objectives. And now the mission objectives will be becoming a little bit harder. Achieving 6 cities with 90,000 citizens, that is going to become on very soon. Making 20 different goods available at St. Louis at the same time, that is going to perhaps take a little bit of extra special lines. See, particularly here with the corn. Yes, salt, furnitures. It will come on okay, I think, but sometimes one will say put up a little bit extra one here, and then let that go to and make sure that it only picks up and have it waiting there like this. But then as it is waiting on the station to be filled up, then it's blocking the traffic, and that's not such a very good thing. So we will have to look into that. I see I bumped this up quite a bit now, but still demand for corn is really great. So, but with a little bit of tricksing back and forth and making sure to look into this, that will come on nicely. We will be able to achieve that in due time. But then with the increasing the value of our company into 25 millions, if we have a look at the company value, it is already 57 millions, and it's going to grow much from that. As you can see, one has this absolutely exponential growth, which is very nice. And then we have opportunity to take up more loans. I always like to have as much money handy as possible, and we can see that we are growing very nicely all through the game. And so then, almost 3 years of gameplay. It takes a bit of time to buy up all of these factories and earning enough money. But we can see that now we are very close to be delivering both the toys and the canned fruit and the ceramics via Huntington. So that will come on nicely. Have a quick look at St. Louis again. See how we fared here with now at least we have lots of corn, had some special deliveries, lumber is coming in. There are 24, I think, available goods, and then one can sort of be neglecting 4 of these, but then one has to have the rest of the 20 in order to achieve the mission objective. Looking at the flow of goods now, we have this toy factory up here. I cut off all ordinary delivery, so then toys are now solely being delivered by these special trains. And we can show that again. We can put up a train here, go down to oh, that was the wrong station. I have to do this again. And put up a train here in the central station. Be sure to pick the right station. Now there are lots of stations. Turn everything off. And then make sure it has a minimum of 8. Picking a nice train. The Brox module being available to us now. Oh. We actually completed the mission, where we can see how now the toys are being picked up, and they will go down to Huntington, and then somebody will pick them up from Huntington, and that will count for the mission objective. We did that with the same with the canned fruit. Now canned fruit is actually being able to be distributed there, so then I might have to use the other trick, just making sure that it goes only in the right direction. But we were able to finish. The optional tasks will come on very soon as well. Lots of people did better than us, but this is not so bad at all for using a completely different strategy that the game had intended. I really dig on this circular approach, building up these zones. And we can see we made for a great score and a pretty good rating and placing on the high score list. In order now to produce the ceramics, I deleted the one up here in Colombia, rather replaced it with a furniture factory, it seemed, and then moved it down to Nashville, and then blackmail. Okay, we can pay him off. And then both the canned fruit and the toys, they need steel. So then steel is produced in Memphis. Have iron coming in here from the center of the eastern zone, and then the planks also used for toy factory, all coming down on this long line, also picking up coal on the way, in the quarry, and then goes on like this. So this is an addition, this long, I will refer to this as the industrial line. And then I have a particular dedicated freight line here, using the Baldwin 10-wheeler, even though that's not a freight train. It is a mixed, it is a freight train, actually, yeah, no, sorry. And then using this particularly nice freight train, and then have it on freight only, and make sure that it goes back and forth. And then even though the game is such that it prioritizes to pick up freight before they pick up passengers, if passengers are already on board, they don't kick out the passengers. The passengers then go all the way, and then if one might pass a resource on the way, and then that will not be picked up. So if one will be absolutely certain that everyone, all the factories along the way here are getting what they need, one should choose the freight only option. And now we're making so much money anyways, so that there isn't any particular problem. Sometimes this might be a little bit empty, because like this one, for example, only has 2, and there's certainly there will be passengers waiting, and they are not allowed to board, because I would need, in case there would be need to pick up any more goods further down the line. See, some of these are really busy, while others are less busy. Yes, and then we actually made the optional tasks as well, and then everything seems to be running up and in order. It was perhaps a little bit of a peculiar solution to this level, but at least I showed a couple of tricks that avoids one could have used manual loading instead, but I think that manual loading is a bit of a hassle, and I do a lot of mistakes when I turn to the manual loading. So then I prefer to rather have this mixed routes going round and around, and as soon as the mixed routes are being filled up, then I add passenger lines parallel to them, and maybe build a cross in the middle. But all the trains pretty much just are either on mixed or on passenger traffics with the special wagons. Sometimes, not so very often, I will make for this freight only routes. If there are this particularly industrial line now at Fayetteville, Memphis, Nashville, Louisville, and also Indianapolis, they're all having factories that are in high demand. That would be a little bit sad if they were to run out of the needed goods. Here, for example, if they didn't have any coal, yes, and they don't have that much coal. So to make absolutely certain that they get everything that they need, one can have one of those freight lines. Or otherwise, I use this. Here, I will put them on automatic, but still there will be this little. Even so, loading is automatic, but even though there will be this little symbol up here showing that it picks up only freight goods, because even though it is on automatic, that rail line only carries freight, as freight is the only thing that is available on that particular route. Quick look again at the flow of goods. Not so much have changed actually. Corn still being on both sides, lumber being transported west to east, wheat from west to east, wheat from east to west, lumber from west to east, milk evenly distributed, cloth evenly distributed, sugar and fruit. I don't really distribute that so much, because the sugar, okay, but I need to make sure that Indianapolis is getting what it needs for its liquor factory. And then I rather have the sugar being reproduced into liquor than to have it distributed right away. Because liquor, you can have a look at that as well. Say with St. Louis, that are growing quite a bit. There seems to be a problem with the lumber. I have to take note of that. But one can see that it needs 1.9 wagons per week of sugar to be filled up till 100% fulfillment of demand, and also 1.9. Okay, well, all of them actually being the same. Okay, so sugar and liquor is actually the same. That was a little bit surprising. But say with the more basic goods, it needs double the amount to be satisfied. So we can pay heed to that as well. Vegetables on both sides nicely. Memphis still producing the fashion clothing. St. Louis mostly supplying the eastern side, while Fayette will take care of the western more parts. See now that our rails, they are being filled up way too much. There's so much growth now and so much need for goods and so many passengers that they are pretty much all going red all over. Then one needs to build more and more and more. But then we've been able to achieve our mission objectives, so we will end our expansion at this point. Liquor up there. Now I put liquor back on, so that liquor is going now in every which direction. Some of it through Huntington Warehouse, but most of it directly on the zone that it belongs to. That's east, evenly distributed. Only one salt resource being distributed here from Memphis. Then it goes on to a warehouse here, and then go on the industrial line, this Memphis south, and then will be picked up or moved over to the other warehouses as there is demand for it, and some trains that might be able to pick it up. No longer any need for any long delivery routes for the clay. That will be hard to go all the way to Columbia, and it would also be filling up the trains on the way, and that would make for other goods to be left behind. Furnitures, clay, that was okay. Paper, lots of paper going through everywhere. Maybe made for a chemical factory, but there is little production and lots of demand, so there is no need for a warehouse to further distribute it. Iron just coming straight into Memphis, and then steel being distributed to where it's needed. Last look at the quarterly report, and see that as of late we haven't really been making so much more money. because the production, if we buy a lot of factories, they will often not be very lucrative. We have been making less from production because it's so hard to keep these factories running, and then if they are standing still, we still have to pay the people that work there. And then so we actually went down a bit, because the way to really make money in Railway Empire is to expand and have more and more passengers, and not to necessarily own all of the factories. Even that might be nice, it still comes with a responsibility to make sure that they're running, or else one will be punished by having to pay for empty, not running factories. You can see with the how we are doing on the factory side. Not everything here is running. There are too few trains. So I had this fantastic both paper mill and sawmill that are just pretty much standing there because there aren't enough trains to pick up all the goods. That's the reason for us making less money. Then one can go in here and one can downgrade this, but for me that seems that is sort of, it's free to downgrade it, and then I wouldn't have to spend that much money. But I spend so much money on building it. I have an acquisition cost here of 4.1 million, and I made a total profit of $1 million. But then now I'm running on a deficit, and then I might have to readjust this. But then no, I don't want to do that. But anyways, I think that pretty much sums it up. One can feel free to like and subscribe. That would make me very happy. And leave some comments. And I hope to see you next time. And goodbye. Enjoy the game.